Hey there blues fans, John here with the Blues Guitar Institute, and this is your Tuesday Blues. In this lesson we're going to talk about some handy little tips that you can use to help make your scale sound a little more musical, especially when you're improvising or writing licks. If you're a premium member, you'll have access to a jam track that's basically a 2-chord vamp that will come in nice and handy when you're practicing this lesson. Now, there's not going to be any tab for this lesson. This is more of a creative sort of type, to get you thinking, get your creative juices flowing. So we're not going to tab out anything that we do here, but definitely become a premium member and grab that jam track. So let's get right to it. Here's the lesson. Now, a couple things that you need to know before we get started. We're doing this improv and lick writing over a chord vamp. And that chord vamp, it's important for you to know the chords because that really sets the foundation that you can play your lead over. And we're playing over an A7 here and a D major. And cycling back and forth between those two chords really lends itself to the key of A. So we're going to really focus on the key of A, and that's very important because when it comes to selecting the scale that you want to play, that's the first battle, and arguably it's half of the battle, is just playing within the right scale. So we're going to make things easy on ourselves right now. Know that this is the key of A, and that we're going to use the A minor pentatonic scale. This is a scale where a lot of guitarists begin and end, actually. You can do a whole lot with just these 5 notes. And in particular, we're going to limit ourselves and keep things simple as we sort of encounter, maybe for the first time, how to write these simple licks and make them sound good and make our scales sound like actual music, and like we're making music from them rather than just playing, mechanically up and down the neck. So with that in mind, we're in A, and we're going to play the A minor pentatonic scale, and we're going to stick to this box 1 pattern. And that looks like this. We start here on the 6th string, 5th fret. That's an A note, so that's a root, very important spot to remember. And we're moving up to the C. That's our minor 3rd on the 8th fret, 6th string. Then we move to the 4th here, which is a D on the 5th string, 5th fret, and then up a step we've got an E, which is the 5th here, and then we've got our flat 7, super bluesy note when you want to kind of keep fresh, and that's a G note here, and this particular G on the 4th string on the 5th fret, and then we've got our octave here, our root note, the A again. So really we've got these 5 notes, A, C, D, E, and G. That's the minor pentatonic scale. Then we're going to just complete the pattern by going up another octave. So we start at this A, and we still need the same set of notes. So we've got A, C, D, E, G, A. Then we can move up even another octave and catch this C here on the 8th fret of the 6th string. So all in all, the box pattern looks like this. And to keep things as simple as possible, we're going to stay entirely within that for this lesson. So we've got our chord vamp going in the background. We've got this A and a D. And the very first thing that I did in the demonstration was intentional. I kept things super easy, but just did a hammer-on little move right here. There's just 1, 2, 3 notes, and then we land back on the A. And landing on the A is the real important tip, the first tip that I want to bring you to. Know where your root is at all times. You've got this A, which is the root, because that's the key we're playing in. You've got this A, and you've got this A, right here within this one area. There are certainly others at different spots on the neck, but you really want to know where those A notes are at all time. That is a strong note to begin and end a lick on, even something as simple as this. Now, there's another tip embedded in this tiny little movement, because it actually sounded pretty good when you played it in the context of our little vamp. I introduced a couple of guitar techniques there. So I didn't just play very mechanically, and where you hit the notes with the exact same attack and the exact same style on the fretboard or technique on the fretboard. I hammered into the note. So that's a nice little technique. We kind of are sneaking up and teasing out that A when we do that. It's more of a lyrical way than a disjointed kind of pluck of each of the notes. So that's one thing, is that we're doing a nice little legato in there. Then I popped this note a little bit, this C note here on the third string. And that's a staccato way of approaching this note. So we didn't just play nice and evenly like we were practicing our scales. We went. So we plugged that pretty hard and choked it out. And that's part of putting dynamics into your playing, so that not every note sounds the same as far as the intensity, the attack, and how you actually approach that note. So that's what we're accomplishing here. And then of course, we landed back on that root note, and you can apply some sweet vibrato in there, just to kind of tease out another guitar technique. So we really approach this from multiple angles, and I'm using this tiny lick as just a way to demonstrate all the things that you can do to approach even a short sequence like this. And the next thing that you want to do is, you can certainly repeat yourself, right? But in blues, a lot of times we build things, and we build to something, rather slowly. So we started out with this sort of loop. We started teasing out another note. And this is what I love about the minor pentatonic scale, is that almost every note that you can choose from the scale will sound good as you're playing over this particular 2-chord vamp. Because it's in the key of A minor pentatonic scale sounds great over many things in the key of A. So now what we're doing is kind of taking that simple approach and just building off of it, but landing on a different note. And this note in particular is a D note. And we know, since we're cycling through A and D, that D is probably going to sound pretty good. And we'll still keep all of those techniques and dynamics and things going as we approach this little lick fragment. We're highlighting a different note, but we're doing a lot of those same things. We're kind of playing with the hammer-on. We're varying the attack that we pluck the string with. It's very useful. And the cool thing is, you can accent different notes within this little sequence to get a different feel and put your own expressions on it. This is just an idea, and these licks are just ideas to get you going. And another thing that you heard me do in the demonstration was kind of build to a point where I'm moving out of this little 4-note idea here. We can still continue and move into the upper part of this scale pattern, this box pattern. And you'll notice that another big heavily used in blues technique that we used was this quarter step bend here that happened when I hit this high note. It's a way to add some intensity to the notes. This is another tip for you, is to bend and do those quarter step blues bends. When placed on the right note at the right time, these things just pull a ton of emotion out of your guitar. And again, the goal is to not sound super scalar. So that same little idea, that sounds very scalar to me, just like I'm practicing my scales, something you wouldn't necessarily want to hear where you're out listening to a blues band. But when you take that bends here and there and vary the attack, all of a sudden you got something that really is useful to you. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to play and just play through a few more ideas, just kind of as they come to me. This will be completely improvised. I'm not going to edit this. This is going to be, you know, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I want you to see just how easy it is to get some emotion out of the guitar, knowing what you know about the scale and knowing what you know about these notes that you can choose and how to play them. That's the real important part here. If all the tips kind of fall under one umbrella, it's how to play them. It's the how that matters right here. So give a listen to this and maybe you'll get a few ideas. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. This is definitely a little bit of a different direction for us here on BGI. Usually there's every note tabbed out, but I really want to encourage you to just take what you've heard here today and take this little chord vamp, loop it over, and get your guitar out and start working on some ideas that will take this A minor pentatonic scale from sounding super scalar and like you're studying versus playing, and take it to another level and actually put some emotion in it with these expressive elements of the guitar. Things like the staccato and varying the dynamics and playing with a little bit of legato and then throwing in those nice bluesy quarter step bends. Again, you almost can't make a wrong note choice when it comes to using the minor pentatonic scale in this particular jam. So have fun, be adventurous, and then if you're feeling super adventurous, start taking this pattern, and if you know your other patterns, then move out of this and see what can happen when you start calling upon different box patterns and then connecting them. There's so much possibility, and to me it begins right here. When it's your home base in this box one, how much good playing and how many good licks can you pull out of this one little 4th fret group right here, in this particular case in the key of A. Tons of fun stuff right here. So definitely, if you're a premium member, download that jam track and fire it up, put it on a loop, have some fun, and really get the creative juices flowing.